The girl picked up a venomous spider. She wants to break her parents' relationship. She secretly kept the spider in a jar, but then something strange happened. The spider actually mimicked the girl's voice. Next, Liz grabbed a cockroach and threw it into the jar, but the next second...
Cool.
Late that night, the spider began to move. Its target wasn't the girl. It crawled through the ducts and ended up in Liz's grandma's room. Luckily, the spider was still small and could only eat small creatures, so the parrot became grandma's substitute victim. Early the next morning, screams came from grandma's room.
Sweet Jesus, what the hell happened to it?
She assumed it was caused by mice, but the stepfather thought otherwise. Later, Liz secretly pulled out a bag of live cockroaches. As she was about to feed the spider, a white pill accidentally rolled next to the jar. Suddenly, the spider began to struggle violently. Seeing this, Liz quickly picked up the pill.
Ew. Mothball.
She cautiously brought a mothball near the spider's web. In an instant, the web melted away. Then the jar started shaking and fell, but Liz reacted quickly and caught it just in time, avoiding a disaster. Then she carefully peeked at the spider. To her shock, it had grown much larger. But Liz's reaction was
Awesome.
That night, the spider escaped the jar again. This time, it crawled into the landlady's house. The landlady's dog noticed something strange in the ducts, so barked continuously to warn its owner. But the woman thought it was too noisy and threw it outside. The little dog was anxious. The woman was irritated and walked into the kitchen, but the spider had already climbed on her. As she took a photo off the wall, turned out her family had died in a car accident. She was left alone. This made her painful. Suddenly, the spider lunged at her. After being bitten, her face began to rot. The landlady's body was taken away, but the cause is unknown. Meanwhile, as the spider grew larger, Liz decided to get it a new container. So she secretly approached a biology student living upstairs, asking to buy a glass tank for the spider. She even told him the spider could mimic voices, but the student said spiders don't have vocal cords and couldn't possibly make any sounds, and its growth rate was highly abnormal. But Liz showed him the spider anyway, instantly sparking the student's interest. He offered her a glass tank for free, but said the spider must stay with him temporarily for observation. Liz agreed to the deal, but the student informed her stepfather instead. He claimed he would hand it over to the Department of Health, also told the stepfather to warn Liz. When Liz heard the news, she was furious. She saw the spider as her only emotional support, so she had a big fight with her stepfather. The family was in chaos, but the spider wasn't sent to the Department of Health. Instead, the student kept it for himself. He fed it mice instead.
Who's next?
Turned out to be more twisted than Liz. That night, the spider grew so large it shattered the glass tank. It quietly returned to Liz's room. Strangely, it didn't attack her. Instead, it went after her arguing parents in the living room. Liz didn't know and continued playing her games. She only stopped when the dog barked loud. By the time she went to check, it was too late. The living room was empty. She leaned over the duct opening to call for her parents, but the spider heard her and quickly approached. So she blocked the duct with a cabinet in fear and curled up in a corner, unsure of what to do. She didn't notice something behind her. When she turned around, she found her 1-year-old brother had already been taken by the spider. In despair, she grabbed a kitchen knife to protect herself, but suddenly she thought of a way to save everyone.